Hello, Aries. Today I want you to pause for a moment and truly listen, because what you're about to hear is not just another message. September 15, 2025 has been marked as a sacred turning point, a day when the unseen curtain is lifted and your destiny shines through. You may think the days you've lived were meaningless, but no. Every step, every tear has been recorded, carried into this very moment. And now, the heavens are calling your name. So come with me. Step into this call from the sky where you will see why your presence here is anything but an accident. September 15, 2025, when the heavens open, when the wind whispers and the light breaks through. This is not just another moment on a calendar. It is a sacred day, written long before you were born. A day marked by God and the universe together, so you could step into a deeper layer of your destiny. Aries, your presence here today is no accident. It's not because you scrolled past a headline, not because you clicked a video by mistake. You are here because your soul was written long ago into the book of the chosen. Every step you've taken, every quiet tear, every time you forced yourself to rise after falling, all of it has been seen, remembered, and held in the sacred memory of heaven. Think back to those days when you felt so alone, when you thought even God might have forgotten you. The long nights with no comfort, when it seemed like there was nothing left to hold on to. But the truth is, heaven never forgot you, even in the darkest silence. There were eyes watching over you, a hand steadying you from behind the unseen veil. Aries, you are the pioneer flame. Yes, storms have beaten against that fire. Yes, sometimes it nearly went out. But light never truly disappears. It only pulls back, waiting for the right moment to rise brighter than ever. And now that moment has come, your light returning, stronger and purer, because you walked through darkness, because you endured, because you persevered. Do not think those years of pain were meaningless. Not a single scar on your soul is random. God saw every time you collapsed in silence. He gathered your tears like pearls and kept them. And when the time was right, He returned them to you, not just as healing, but as strength to become proof that divine love still lives. You may look around and see many who gave up. Some grew too tired to wait. Some forgot the promise their soul once carried. But you are different. You are still here, weary perhaps, but still waiting, still holding on to that fragile thread of faith. And that is what makes you the chosen one. Let your heart feel this truth. You are not invisible. You are not abandoned. You are part of a story far greater than you can see, a story where every detail has been placed to bring you to this very day. Even your failures were not outside the plan. They were detours meant to train you, to teach you patience, to show you how to believe in what is unseen. And remember this, sometimes God is silent not because He ignores you, but because He is preparing an answer far greater than the one you prayed for. This September, that answer begins to unfold. You may think you are small in this vast universe, but in truth, every act of kindness, every good thought you plant echoes in the unseen world. When you smile though your heart is broken, when you reach out to help while you yourself are lacking, when you choose forgiveness over anger, every one of those moments is recorded. And now, they rise as proof that you are worthy of the light that's coming. Aries, you are living proof that destiny never forgets a single soul. And when God decides to call your name, no shadow can hold you down. So breathe deeply, let your heart open wide, and accept this truth. September 15, 2025 is not just another date. It is a sacred appointment. Heaven's reminder that you are seen, you are loved, you are chosen. You may still wonder, why me? Why am I worthy? The answer is simple, because you did not give up. Because you kept the flame alive in your heart, even when it was just a faint ember. And that is all heaven ever needed to reignite your destiny. Let these words be a seed planted deep inside you. Let them remind you that you are never alone, and let them carry you into the next layer of this story, where September is no longer just a month, but the month of destiny, the month of awakening, the month written with your name, Aries. And that is why this September is not just another cycle, it is the month of destiny for Aries. September has always carried a special mystery, not only because it is the 9th month of the year, but because the number 9 has long been seen as a sign of endings and at the same time the birth of something new. In many traditions, 9 represents completion, fullness, the closing of one circle before another begins. And for you, Aries, this September is not just another page on the calendar. It is a brand new chapter in the book of your destiny. Aries, you are the pioneer of the zodiac, the soul chosen to light the first flame and lead others forward. That means your life has often been tied to trials, to sudden falls, to difficult beginnings. But remember this, no beginning ever arrives without an ending before it, and September comes as a reminder that what you've endured was never meaningless. It was the necessary piece that carried you to a destined moment, the moment of heaven's final revelation. Let me say this clearly and with honesty. The dreams you've carried in your heart for years, the prayers whispered in the dark, the promises you thought had been delayed forever, are finally shifting. They are moving from the unseen world into the visible, where you can touch them, live them, and experience them. September is the bridge between those two worlds. You may have thought you missed your chance. You may have believed a door had closed forever, but the truth is, no door truly closes when it was meant for you. It only waits for its time, and that time is now. God and the universe do not work by human clocks. They move to the rhythm of eternity, and this September, that rhythm beats in time with your heart. You might ask, why suffering, why hardship? Let me share a perspective. In Buddhist teaching, suffering is not just pain or punishment. It is the path to awakening, like a seed buried in the dark soil, pressed down by time and water, before it can break open and rise toward the light. Pain you carry in your heart is not wasted. It is the seed of a new era in your life. Aries, you must understand September is not here to drag you back into the past. It comes to confirm that the past is complete. One circle has ended, and another is opening. When you look back, don't only see loss, see preparation. Every disappointment, every tear you cried in silence was heaven laying a stronger foundation beneath your feet. In astrology, Aries is fire, and fire only bursts into full blaze after it has smoldered for a while. This year, September is the sacred wind blowing on the ember in your heart until it rises in a flame that cannot be put out. You are not just stepping into another stage of life. You are walking through a gate where your destiny begins to shine. Pause for a moment and listen. Maybe you'll feel a small stirring inside, like a heartbeat stronger than before, like a breath that sinks deeper, like peace quietly flooding your chest. That is not your imagination. That is your soul sensing. The revelation is drawing near. When September passes, don't see it as just another stretch of days. See it as God's reminder that it is time to release what has closed and step into what is opening. Do not fear endings, for endings are the way the universe makes room for sacred beginnings. Aries, you are not simply living through another month. You are standing at a crossroads where the old begins to fade and a brighter road appears. That road is not for everyone. It is for those who had the patience to wait and the courage to keep believing. And you are one of them. You may feel your heart tremble with hope or your mind fill with doubt. Both are real, both are human, but right at the meeting point of doubt and hope, something new is born. It is faith. Faith that what was promised long ago is finally becoming real. This September, let your heart open wide. Let the light in, even if you don't fully understand it, and trust that the dreams which have waited too long will finally have their chance to live in the world. And before the new gate opens, there will be a deep transformation inside your soul. There are moments in life, Aries, when you feel as if you're walking through an endless tunnel. Everything around you is dark, no ground to stand on, and you wonder if you'll ever see light at the end of the road. Yet in that very darkness, an invisible movement begins, silent but powerful, like the heartbeat of life itself. It is not the end, it is preparation for a turning point. And this September, that transformation will rise, so clear you won't be able to deny it. Aries, you will begin to feel something different within you, a quiet clarity flowing into your mind, like the sky breaking open after a long storm and the first light pouring down. You'll realize that the chains that held you back, the old beliefs that trapped you, are falling away. The wounds you thought would never heal are now glowing scars, proof that you endured, that you survived, that you are stronger than ever. Suffering in Buddhist teaching is not the enemy. It is a doorway, and only when you dare to walk through it can you touch awakening and reach a deeper knowing of yourself. Every pain you tried to avoid, every wound you tried to hide, is the very ground where light searches for a way in. Without darkness, would you ever treasure the light? Without being lost, would you ever feel the strength of finding your way again? You don't have to erase the pain to be healed. You only need to open your heart and face it, to accept that it was there, that it once taught you how to rise when no one else was there to help you. And when you do, you'll see pain is no longer a chain, but a lantern guiding you toward a freer, stronger, more loving version of yourself. Aries, picture yourself as a candle once blown out by the wind, and now, a divine hand lights that flame within you again. And when it burns, you won't just shine for yourself. You'll drive away the shadows around you. Where there was once darkness, now you'll see your own light. This is the moment you step into a new layer of awareness. You'll find yourself letting go more easily, forgiving more deeply, loving yourself more sincerely. What you thought you could never forget slowly becomes a memory you place down with gratitude. What you thought you could never release falls gently from your hands like an autumn leaf drifting to the ground. And in that very moment, you realize freedom doesn't come from changing the outside world, but from releasing what was locked inside. This transformation is not loud. It is not thunder splitting the sky. It is the breeze that stirs a petal, the soft sunlight spilling through a morning window. It enters your life quietly, but its strength is undeniable. A strength born from within, the strength of a soul that has touched the light. Aries, this is the gift God and the universe give you after years of endurance. He did not leave you in the dark just to suffer. He let you walk through the shadows so you would know. The light was never far away. It has always been inside your heart. You don't need to search far. Everything you need has always been here within your soul. Take a deep breath. Feel the relief weaving through every breath you take, and allow yourself to smile, even the smallest smile, because that smile is proof. You are touching a new truth. You are no longer who you once were. You are being reborn in the light. And when that light shines through you, it does not stop with you, because true light never belongs to just one candle. Once you are lit, you naturally pass it on. You become a torch in the darkness, a beacon of hope for wandering souls. But this revelation is not only for you, it is also so you can become a torch for others. Light was never created to be kept only for yourself. Light exists to spread, to guide, to warm the footsteps of those who are lost. Aries, once your soul has touched revelation, your journey doesn't end with your own healing. You are being called into something greater, to become a torch in the night of this world. Think back to the moments when you almost collapsed, when someone, maybe without knowing, reached for your hand, spoke a gentle word, gave a look of compassion, or simply stayed near in silence, and that was enough to keep you moving. They didn't realize it, but they saved you from the edge. And now, you are being called to do the same for someone else. The blessing you've received is not only a reward for you, it is a source of light to multiply, to spark hope in those still drowning in the dark. In my eyes, true happiness is never measured by wealth or achievements. It's measured by how much love you can give, how much light you can share from a heart that has once been broken. A healed world doesn't begin with big slogans. It begins with individuals who dare to live honestly with their own light, who dare to show compassion, who dare to listen and lift others up. Aries, you are fire, and fire carries a sacred truth. The more you share it, the stronger it grows. When one candle lights 100 others, it doesn't lose its own flame. Instead, the whole space glows warmer, brighter. So this blessing that comes to you now is not only to fill your heart, but to make you a wellspring of warmth for other hearts. Picture this. Somewhere out there, someone is standing in the middle of a storm. They feel lost, hopeless, empty, and all they need is to see a single spark of light, just enough to remind them that darkness doesn't last forever. You are that spark. You were not only chosen to receive, you were chosen to give. You are the light in someone's storm. And maybe you wonder, what do I have to give? I'm still weak. I'm still learning how to stand. But remember, light doesn't ask for perfection. It only asks for honesty. When you share your story, when you speak of the pain you've endured, when you admit that you were once fragile but kept walking, you are giving away a priceless gift. People don't need a perfect model. They need a real torch, a light with cracks but still shining. God and the universe did not choose you to live in silence. They chose you to stand as living proof that hope is still alive, that darkness is never the final chapter. They gave you this mission not to frighten you, but to awaken courage within you, the courage that has always been a part of Aries, the pioneer. And here's the miracle: when you begin to give your light to others, the flame inside you burns even stronger. Every embrace you give, every word of comfort, every moment you stand by someone in their pain, It reflects back and strengthens you, because happiness is not a destination. It is a flow, and that flow only stays alive when it moves outward, when it is shared. Aries, allow yourself to be part of that flow. Let your story, your light, your healed scars become a foundation for someone else. A society only becomes truly whole when there are people willing to light themselves, and then share that flame with the community. Don't fear that you are not enough. It is your imperfection that makes your light real. Others will look at you and see proof that you can rise after falling, believe after disappointment, love again after being wounded. And when you become that torch, you will understand this is not just a blessing. It is a sacred responsibility. A responsibility not heavy but joyful. Because when you give, you don't just save another soul. You save yourself day by day, moment by moment. Let your heart grow lighter in this awareness. Let your soul discover joy in becoming light. And from your deepest place, let this calling rise, to live as a torch, so that those trembling in the night can find their way. And to seal that truth, you need one act of faith. There are moments in life, Aries, when a single word spoken is enough to change everything. No grand action, no loud movement, just one declaration rising from the depth of your soul can shift the heavens themselves. And today, I want you to pause, take a deep breath, and let your heart speak. Listen closely, not to the noise outside, but to the quiet beat inside your chest, because within that beat, there is a sacred phrase, a declaration with the power of an invisible key. That phrase is this: I am chosen. I will live heaven's final revelation this September 15. This is not just a string of words. It is not a pretty slogan to hang in your mind and forget over time. This is a sacred act, a ritual of the soul. When you write it down, when you speak it aloud, you are doing something far deeper. You are opening doors that once were shut. You are lighting a lamp the darkness tried to bury. You are awakening the faith that fear and doubt tried to smother. Aries, strength does not always come from doing more, pushing harder, running faster. Sometimes true strength comes from being still and daring to believe, believing that you are worthy, believing that you have not been forgotten, believing that the holy promise of heaven carries your name as well. And when that belief is spoken, it becomes the red thread that ties you back to the destiny already written for you. Imagine this. When you write those words, you are not simply typing on a screen. You are carving your name into the pages of the universe. You are letting the divine hand of God press his seal upon your soul, saying, "This one is mine. This one will live my revelation." And maybe you wonder, how could a simple phrase change anything? But remember, every great shift in history began with a word. Let there be light, and light appeared. I have a dream, and a generation awakened. So too, when you declare, "I am chosen," you are not only changing your story, you are sending a vibration into the cosmos, and the universe answers by opening doors before you. Aries, I want to encourage you. Don't just hold this truth in your heart. Write it down. Let your hands touch the words. Let your heart press them deep within. And if you feel called, share it in the comments below. Because when many souls lift this declaration together, we are no longer individuals. We become a community of the chosen, a community of light, where every affirmation joins the next, shaking the shadows and igniting the sky. You may be sitting alone in a quiet room, but when you write those words, you are not alone. You are standing among a great gathering, a spiritual family spread across the world, together declaring we are chosen, and we will live heaven's final revelation. Don't let shyness hold you back. Don't let doubt silence you. Trust that every word you write, every breath you speak is a seed planted in the unseen field, and the harvest is already on its way. Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine writing that phrase in pure light, and see it glowing in the dark space of your life. A small line of words, yet strong enough to shift the color of the sky. That is the power of a soul's declaration. And from the very moment you affirm it, a new chapter begins to unfold. There comes a moment in life, Aries, when all the pain that once felt meaningless suddenly weaves together into a radiant picture. You look back on the road you've traveled, every crack, every collapse, every endless night, and realize it wasn't meant to bury you but to shape you. It was in the trial that you learned resilience. It was in the loss that you discovered the true value of what remained. And it was in the darkness that you finally learned how to cherish the sunrise. Aries, the tears you once shed were never wasted. They watered the dry soil of your soul, so that today, from that barren ground, the green shoots of hope could rise. There will come a time when you find yourself smiling after years of holding back the cry. A time when you realize what you thought was lost forever has returned with multiplied strength. What you thought had died is alive again. What you thought was gone comes back stronger than before. Hold this image in your heart, a brilliant sunrise breaking open after the longest, heaviest night. In that moment, you may have thought everything was finished, but the sun still rose. The light slipped through every crack, spilling into the room where you once collapsed. And suddenly you knew failure was never your destiny. It was only the stepping stone to lift you higher. Deep down, I believe no one is born to fail. Every soul carries a spark of God, a seed of strength. The trials you faced were never to destroy you, they were to steady you, to stretch you wide enough to receive blessing. A heart that has never broken can never truly love. A soul that has never touched suffering can hardly lift another. It was those collisions with the dark nights that formed the person you are today. Aries, when the door of this new chapter opens, you will witness a miracle. The questions that haunted you for years, the unfinished sentences in your spirit, will slowly find their answers. You will see that everything had a reason. Even the times you thought you were forgotten were really silent preparations, like a potter spinning the wheel, pressing, shaping, molding, not to break the clay, but to form something beautiful. So too, your process has made you strong, radiant, whole. Sometimes we must walk through a decade of darkness just to understand the worth of a single moment of dawn. Light shines brighter only after we've tasted the cold of night. And when the sun finally rises in your life, you will no longer take it for granted. You will bow in gratitude, open your arms wide, and whisper in your heart, it was all worth it. Let this truth settle in you: the past does not define you. The trials did not destroy you. The losses did not erase your worth. They were only the preparation for this day. The day you see light clearer than ever. And that day, Aries, is now. As you stand at this threshold, don't look back too much. Don't drown in regret. Don't tremble with fear. Look ahead to the chapter already written, pages full of promise. Step into it as one who has walked through the night, carrying in your heart a faith that cannot be shaken. And now, as the final curtain is lifted, Aries will witness heaven's last revelation. September 15th, 2025 is not just another date on the calendar. It's not just a number, not a random moment in time. It is a sacred milestone where heaven and earth meet, to remind you that destiny has always been waiting for you to step forward. Do not fear this revelation. It does not come to confuse you. It comes to show you that everything you've endured, everything you've lost, has been the path leading you to this very hour. Aries, you are the pioneering soul. From the moment you were born, a flame was placed within you to blaze the trail ahead. You don't walk only for yourself. You walk for an entire generation to light the steps that follow. Heaven's final revelation is not an ending, it is confirmation. Confirmation that you were chosen to become the torch in the night. Proof that light never dies. Even in the heaviest darkness, your destiny was not written in ink. It was written in eternal fire. A fire stronger than any trial, brighter than any shadow, more sacred than any promise a human voice could make. That flame is carved into your soul, reminding you have never been alone. Aries, the greatest lesson of this moment is simple. Every life is living proof of the universe's love. You may have thought yourself small, unseen, forgotten, but the truth is, the very fact that you are still breathing, still standing, still carrying a heartbeat in your chest is the sign that you are essential to this vast and holy design. Your true worth is not in what you own, but in the way you live as evidence of that light. And today, I want to invite you to do something. Share your story. Tell about the moment you thought you had been forgotten and then realized you were chosen. When you write it down, when you let it touch another heart, you ignite new candles in the dark. And you may never know how deeply that light could save someone. Aries, you've walked a long road to stand here now. And this is the time to step into the destiny already written for you. No more doubt, no more fear. Walk with faith, with pride, and with a heart wide open to love. Thank you for being here, Aries. May this September bring you peace, bring you fullness, and a faith that cannot be shaken.